Hey everyone, it's Joe here from the Bill Course Wellness Center. Happy Monday. I can't believe that it is already October. The year is just flying by on us. For the month of October, we are going to focus on our hips. So this is going to be our hips stretch break for this month. I'm excited because the hips are super important in everyday living, whether it's standing up, sitting down, hinging over to pick something up. And with the strength of the hips comes a lot of tightness in the hips, and if you're tight in the hips, it can be masked as pain elsewhere in the body, from knee pain to low back pain to even neck pain, maybe even a tight jaw. A lot of it can stem surprisingly from the hips, because the hips are tight, the quads get tight, the back gets tight, and it just goes in both directions. So I'm going to take you all through a quick stretch break that's going to focus on just loosening up the hips and hopefully get y'all feeling better. So follow along. This should only take a couple minutes, and let's rock and roll. So first, we are going to pop on the floor, and we're going to move from the floor to the standing position. So if you have a mat, that's great. As you can see, I'm on the carpet. I don't have a mat. You'll be fine. First, what we're going to do is lay flat on your back. Also, if you have a pillow, that can help. But the first thing we're going to do, you can bend this bottom knee, but we are going to do some knee hugs. So this is just getting the blood flowing, and if you want to sneak a little bit of sending your knee out, excellent. So we're going to do this for about 30 to 45 seconds. This is a great one you can even do right when you wake up in the morning. Give yourself a couple of knee hugs. Excellent. We'll do a couple more here. Nice deep breathing too. You'll notice as you do a couple of these exercises, after a couple minutes, you will start to feel better. Excellent. Cool. Next, we are going to sit up. I'll face you guys. And in the seated position, we're going to do what's called a butterfly stretch. So this is going to be a static stretch here, but we're going to move a little bit. I want you guys to try rocking. Slightly rocking with it. Moving to left and right, trying to take your elbows, push them into your knees while you're trying to get your chest up. So a little trick for this, you can do two tricks. One, you can push your back up against a wall like I have behind me, or you can do a partner stretch and have your partner try to push your back up while pushing your knees down. My hips are really tight here, so it helps to do a partner stretch to try to loosen up those hips, because your hips they're tight. If they're tight, they don't want to move, and they're going to avoid that stretch. So sink into this a little bit. Take your time, 30 seconds. If you want to go 30 seconds on, break for a second, and then 30 seconds again. That would be a good idea. Cool. So after that, let's shake out those legs, shake them out. So we're going to get our knees. You can see they're not even in the 90 degree, but my hands are back, just above 90 degrees, and we're going to do a hip rocker. So I'll show you from the side and from the front. This is a great one to get a little bit more of a dynamic movement. So instead of that static stretch, we're moving, sending my knees, trying to get them to the ground. And if you can't go all the way to the ground, that's fine. Just hit the windshield wiper right here, but getting to the ground and then moving. Breathing. Nice. Cool. So after these hip rockers, again, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, or maybe you do 20 each side. Whichever way is fine. Now we're going to do one of my favorites. This is called the 90-90 stretch. So you can see I have 90-degree angle from foot, knee, hip, knee, foot. And what I'm going to try to do here is sit upright as possible, and I'm going to lean over that front knee or front shin, and then I'm going to take, in the same seated position, I'm going to adjust my body to leaning back on this back hip, and you're really going to feel this stretch. So really just trying to challenge my hips in all ranges of motion here while I'm in this 90-90 position. So take your time. If you're really looking to advance this movement up, what you can do is grab just a little weight, maybe a 5-pound dumbbell will do, and that's gonna help you sink your hips into the ground. So I'm doing nice deep breathing. I'll go to the other side, same thing. So sinking this bottom hip now, that's toward the back foot, sinking it into the ground, and then leaning over that front shin. And you can go from knee to leaning over the shin to leaning over the foot. Nice. Cool. After that, we'll go into another one of my favorites. I'll have you stand up, but we're going to quickly go back down into our deep squat. So deep squat, the goal is to get those ankles on the ground. So if you can't quite get down there, that's fine. I'll have you come a little bit higher and elevate those heels. So elevate the heels, still sinking your butt into the ground as deep as you can, and then getting those elbows and pushing out in the deep squat. So you can come out and do a couple of these squats. You'll notice each time you're able to get a little deeper and deeper, that's good. And just really try to sink into it. Cool, so after we do our deep squat flow, we are gonna go into a lunge. Another great move here. Lunge, so back knees on the ground, leaning. What I want you to do is make sure your hips are turned into the neutral position. So you don't want this tilt, you wanna bring them down in that lunge position to try to isolate the hip. And I'm gonna have y'all reach over. So you're in this lunge, reach, reach. We'll do both sides. Slow reaches, you can reach back, over. Just make sure we're keeping that neutral pelvis. Like I said, if your hips are really tight, they are going to avoid these stretches. So you have to make it happen on both sides. And you'll notice on these single-sided that one side is going to be tighter than always. That's totally normal. We just want to identify it and really focus on stretching it. So when you find that tight side, make sure you spend a little extra time loosening it up, strengthening it. Excellent. So we're going to stand it up for our final movement. We're going to do a hip hinge. Simple. I'll show you from the side and the front. Sending our butt back. We're hip hinging. This is that strong movement. So I'm basically doing bodyweight deadlifts here. So notice my back is flat. I'm not arching. I'm keeping that good, tall posture. Sending my butt back. This is really going to help stretch the hamstrings, get the glutes involved. But once again, like I said to begin, the hips are really the motor of the body. So we want to loosen up all these muscles around the hips. This is a great thing to do throughout the day. You can even advance it up to doing a single-legged hip hinge or RDL. And that is going to be our hip-focused October stretch break. Hope you guys like this. Reach out, especially if you have tight hips. We'd love to work with you, take you through a more personalized stretch break or movements that you can do to help you feel better. Hope you all have a great week. Happy October, and we will see you guys soon.